Bianchi says the congregation is leaning on each other and their faith.
He, for all intents and purposes, appeared to be the guy. 3.5 years down the road, it's obvious now that long term he's not the guy.
Sheriff Rick Wells believes there are additional victims.
He, of course, would abuse anyone at any time. There doesn't seem to really be a limit to what he's capable of.
Hey, Kharisma here, and welcome back to Kharisma Daily. A Florida pastor has been arrested after police discovered images of him raping a 2-year-old child. What? You heard me right. 43-year-old Jonathan Ewing was smacked with over a dozen felony charges after police made a disturbing discovery. He went into that church professing to be a man of God, but he's really nothing more than a liar and a sexual predator, said County Sheriff Rick Wells during a press conference. Ewing allegedly used cryptocurrency to purchase disturbing material on the internet. The purchase allowed authorities to obtain a search warrant where they found more disturbing images on his cell phone, including images of him in the act with a child. Authorities also found 10 covert cameras at his home, which they worry he used to secretly film. Now, I hope that you're understanding what I'm saying here. They saw him in the act with a child, and he had 10 covert cameras at his home and work. So remember that, okay? Wells goes on to say, I can't stress this enough. This is a monster. This is a man who went to great lengths to hide his true identity, to use whatever resources he could feed this deviant behavior that he has. And they're asking for capital punishment. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
From a cryptocurrency company led to the arrest of a Palmetto pastor. The Manatee County Sheriff's Office says Jonathan Elwing purchased images of child sexual abuse. 1 week later, he's facing additional charges, this time for images involving him sexually abusing a young child. Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon has more from Manatee County.
Investigators here at the Manatee County Sheriff's Office still have a lot of files to go through on Elwing's devices, but what they found so far has sickened them.
This is a monster. This is a man who went to great lengths to hide his true identity.
He's the former senior pastor of Palmview First Baptist Church in Palmetto. Jonathan Elwing now sits behind bars, charged with multiple counts of possessing sexual images of children.
So we're just going to continue to be very methodical in this investigation and download all this information. It takes time.
Deputies arrested him after being tipped off to an online child porn purchase through cryptocurrency. 1 week later, he faces even more charges for more than a dozen newly discovered images, including 2 which show him sexually abusing a child.
The concern is are there other potential victims, given his close contact with children?
43-year-old Elwing resigned before he was arrested. Larry Bianchi, a deacon for the church, says he was hired a few years ago.
We started, doing background checks and everything you could possibly do to make sure this person was the correct person.
Bianchi says the congregation is leaning on each other and their faith.
He, for all intents and purposes, appeared to be the guy. 3.5 years down the road, it's obvious now that long term he's not the guy.
Sheriff Rick Wells believes there are additional victims.
He, of course, would abuse anyone at any time. There doesn't seem to really be a limit to what he's capable of.
The Sheriff's Office expects additional charges for Elwing. In Manatee County, Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.
God help us. Help us, God. Help us. This deviant man who went through the lengths to become a pastor, because what? This is now going to show after you become a pastor? No, you were deviant and demonic and depraved before you became a pastor, and you only became a pastor to use it as a shield to get your rocks off of innocent children. If anyone is watching this video right now and you sexually abuse or abuse in any other way a child or a dog or an animal, you need to get off my platform right now and go back to the depth of hell where you have come from. Because you must be demonic to find a child sexually attractive, an innocent child. You need to go straight back to hell from where you came from. Honestly. 2 years old. Really? And then you're a pastor. Listen, I've been raised in the church from the time I was a baby. My grandparents raised me to be God-fearing and raised me up, okay, in the fear of the Lord. All right? I've worked in ministry for many years, for one particular church, over 12 years. And I understand what it is to work with pastors closely. There's a level of trust and credibility that goes along with it. A man of God or woman of God at that level and position and authority in the kingdom of God is supposed to be above reproach. Above reproach. If you're at that level, you have to be above reproach. But here you're using your position to molest and sexually abuse innocent children. I believe that he had access to children because also, I'm going to read some more of the story. He had access. They kept school. Well, school was, I guess, I don't know if it was a regular school or some kind of nursery, was also held in the same building as a church. So he had access to many of the children. So if you follow what I just read and what you just heard on this video, the 2-year-old, he's a father. I believe he's 4 or 5 children. The 2-year-old they found these disturbing pictures, and I'm going to show you where the evidence came from, allegedly that this took place in his home. So you can put 2 and 2 together. But let me continue and read the rest of it. So according to Inside Edition, and I pronounced his name earlier, it should be Elwing, not Hewen. Jonathan Elwing, who helped lead an evangelical Florida congregation for more than 5 years, as you heard, now faces 14 additional criminal counts, including 2 capital charges of sexual battery on a child and 6 charges of producing child pornography. The worst accusations against Elwing, a 43-year-old father of 4, are based on photographs he took of himself repeatedly sexually abusing or assaulting a toddler, according to authorities. Now, I'll read a little bit more here where we're linking that it is his child that he did this to. It says in Florida. Okay, let me just move on now. Okay, detectives continue to examine Elwing's cell phone and expect to find more illegal material on its computer. Additional charges are forthcoming, the statement said. Right? Detectives found 4 child porn images on his phone that day, the sheriff said. Further investigation led to additional photos in which a toddler wearing a shirt with a cartoon giraffe is seen with Elwing on a blue blanket, according to Elwing's arrest report. At Elwing's home, investigators later seized a shirt identical to the one in the photos and a blue blanket in the home's master bedroom, the arrest report alleges. So that tells me that this child that he was assaulting and molesting is his own child. Friggin' demon. Satan spawn, or Satan himself. Because you would have to be the devil himself to do this to an innocent child? Honestly, like, what other reason would it be? A child? And you hear people talking about this minor attraction. BS. It's bullshit. It's a way for deviants and demons to get off the rocks. Everything that is innocent and pure, they must find a way to to uh to turn it into something ugly and debased and degenerative. I pray that this man gets the capital punishment, and that the children and that little toddler who is going to be forever changed because of this, because of what this man did to him, or possibly his father. That's what I believe, is he is the father of that child that he molested. It is a crying shame. And I wonder, did the mom have not a clue that this was going on? Like, where's the family? Where's the relatives? Right? I have so many questions, but I will keep you updated on the story, because this is a sickening, sick and deviant. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you're watching the show and I'm really getting into the true crimes, and if you're loving this content, let me know. And this is where the show is heading, featuring more true crimes stories, because the world needs to know what is going on behind closed doors. And until next time, take care and bye for now.